Let's take a look at Casa Gilardi, the final home built by Luis Barragan. As with most of Barragan's work, this urban infill house is located in Mexico City. 4 years following the completion of this home in 1976, Barragan was awarded the Pritzker Prize. The lot and house are approximately 33 feet wide and 110 feet deep. This photo is an approach of the house from the east. While bright pink might be an alarming choice for many in the U.S., homes are often painted with vivid colors in Mexico City. However, the yellow painted window is the first clue there's more going on in this home. Once inside the home, the staircase is bathed in light from the skylight. Moving past the staircase, you are pulled to a glowing yellow hallway. This hallway guides us to the indoor pool and dining room. Here we see a dramatic stream of light crossing the blue walls of the pool. Once inside the pool area, the intense light of the hallway recedes, allowing the tranquility of the still pool to come to the forefront. Peeking behind the red column reveals the openings that allow the light entry. This is where Barragan wanted the dining room, and I imagine there are worse places to break bread. Moving to the center of the property, we enter a large courtyard anchored by a jacaranda tree. This tree is of utmost importance to this project, since its presence on the site convinced Barragan to come out of retirement and design this home. The jacaranda tree informed a number of aspects of this project. Similarly, Barragan cited the work of Chucho Reyes as further inspiring the home's color palette. Revisiting the home in section, we can clearly see that the front of the home is reserved for more privacy, and the lower level and rear 2/3 are far more public. In this photo of the hallway, we are also clued into the building's materiality of stucco-covered brick. Backtracking through the home from the courtyard, we can move up to the second level. The yellow window on the front of the house lends a quality similar to the hallway to this second floor bedroom. An unusually proportioned door leads you to a large terrace, and we can see the skylight above the pool here. As a home in a densely populated area, the home acts as a retreat from the hustle and bustle of the city just outside its walls. The home is a true infill, as it's immediately bordered by other structures on 3 of its sides. The design uses careful proportions to lay out the spaces. The size of each block or section of the building is made up from relationships that radiate outward from the jacaranda tree. The house is divided into thirds based on the rectangle of the tree's bed. The 3 rectangles each have a dedicated outdoor space, indicated here by the shading. The columns that line the hallway create a clear cadence that follows you down its length. This structural diagram highlights the exterior masonry walls as well as some interior supporting structures. Barragan emphasized light and color in many of his designs. The hallway and pool were of particular interest to him in this project. The color yellow was representative of his spirituality, and the hallway acted as the altar, guiding you to the pool. He would often visit the site during construction just to observe the varying qualities of light. This circulation path shows that while the house can be approached from east or west, there's really only one way in or out. Once you reach the hallway, the paths can diverge. Retire to the privacy upstairs, or be sociable and mingle downstairs. This space is where you're guided to most often. This concept diagram highlights the centrality and importance of the jacaranda tree. I admit that distorting the plan so that the house is built around the tree, as Barragan suggested it would be, is a little on the nose. But I do believe it conveys just how important that tree is to the project. On the main floor, shown to the left, the balance of served and servant spaces make a near-perfect inverse. The second floor is dominated by served spaces consisting of multiple terraces and living spaces. Lastly is my partie, where I tried to pull out the colors of the home, highlight volumes of color versus planes, hint at the closedness of the property, and of course, show the jacaranda tree in the middle of it all. Knowing that I wanted to focus on the partie for my model, I began thinking about what I could use to build it. I tried a pulping technique similar to paper mache to create a textured plane that also has some structural rigidity. I learned here that patience is key. Oven baking the paper did dry it out, but it also gave me a crispy brown crust. I tried using popsicle sticks to create the hallway. While I think they worked as expected, ultimately the scale was far too off. Next, I tried using layers of trace, glue, and highlighter to make translucent windows for the hallway. This actually worked better than I anticipated, and I ended up using this method in my final. My rough draft model was more about testing methods altogether to see what worked and what didn't. My stick tree fit the modern style of the home, but clashed with Barragan's reverence for nature. The aluminum foil created some nice reflections, but I found it too flashy to use in my final. Here I used a combination of pink and red construction paper to mimic the vibrant pink on the front third of the house. These photos show some of the concepts I tried to pull from my partie. The tunnel of yellow light that dominates the midsection, the pink cube that protects the recreational spaces of the home from the busy streets outside its wall, the jacaranda tree encircled by the home, and lastly the striking contrast and light in the pool. This overhead photo simply shows the careful division of the site into 3 distinct sections. These 2 photos are focused solely on the yellow light of the hallway, and again showing the light as it crosses the blue behind the pool, and the frame interrupted by the red column. Lastly, this transverse diagram and longitudinal photo of my model demonstrate the idea that this home was a product of the site limitations placed on it. As an infill courtyard house, and one that must have the jacaranda tree at its center, this home leaned into its restraints with impressive results. Our group decided that we wanted to create more protected living space. I didn't want to alter the existing points of emphasis within the home, but as this home was so closed off from its urban surroundings, I wanted to somehow engage the city. Mainly, I explored pushing or pulling the spaces within the front third of the lot. I decided the best of my initial ideas was to combine 2 of them. Push into the street and the courtyard by expanding the study on the 2nd floor. The extrusion into the street would connect the house with the residential street on which it is located. It would also allow views of the nearby park to its east. I imagine protecting the occupants by using louvered panels to block passerbys from peering in, but still allow breezes to work through the space. The new balcony in the courtyard would allow up-close experiences with the jacaranda tree and provide another space to gather within the courtyard. I thought that this spot could be a little more cozy or intimate, not because it would have walls within the already closed-off space, but because I thought of this space as more private addition simply because it would be smaller. Knowing the direction I wanted to go, I examined the geometries of the home and how my intervention would integrate into it. I strongly considered how the addition would affect the front elevation, since my intervention would have such a strong presence here. I looked at the pool light well as a column that I could replicate on the front of the facade. I evaluated pushing the space out proportionally to the amount the entry pushed in. Finally, I landed on a series of relationships in section, plan, and elevation to define the space. Taking the boundaries of various spaces and shrinking them down gave me 2 distinct spaces that I would hang off of the house. The front terrace would pierce the existing wall and butt itself against the study. Where a window used to exist with views of the courtyard, this space would expand to exist within the courtyard. These updated plans, section, and elevation highlight my intervention. Here I have added the spaces to my oblique drawing. Since the intervention pushes beyond the original site's rectangular boundary, I used a longitudinal section diagram to demonstrate how the new spaces connect. I simply added the elevated outdoor spaces as points of emphasis to my original emphasis diagram here. The new circulation diagram extends the secondary path up the stairs and to the front balcony. The idea is that curiosity now pulls you to the shrouded space that you saw approaching the house. The geometry diagram was updated to include the new rectangular spaces and their relationship to the other geometries. Similarly, I added the spaces to the partie. I exaggerated the front balcony as a volume pushing through the facade, and in the courtyard, the small balcony is shown as two planes.